Pod.
Rugby Pod. It's the Rugby Pod. You know what it is, and we are back. We are peeling back, and we're glad you're here with us because this week we're going to be talking about all the news. Of course we are. And there's not a huge amount, but there's some big bits about Faz naming his Lions coaching ticket or squad or partners in crime, whatever you want to call them, for the up-and-coming tour to Australia.
We certainly will be, James. There's also some major rumblings in terms of big player signings this week too. There's a bit of player movement. Who's going where? What do you know? What do I know?
What does Rob want to know, Andrew? He's throwing stuff in there. Finn's leaving Bath to go to Leicester. Fuck it, we'll just say it. No, Rob.
Plus, we'll of course be going through all the top games from the weekend in the Premiership and the URC. Some absolute belters. So it's going to be fun, James.
Well, on top of that as well, talking of fun, we're going to have a little bit of fun this episode, just because we can. Just off the back of Hong Kong, we're going to have a little bit of fun. And myself and Rob, mainly Rob, has put a little poem together just for the listeners, just to try a different intro and see how it goes down, Andrew. So you going to sing it or say it? Do you sing poems or say poems?
No, you say poems. You've written a poem. You can't even fucking write.
No, Rob wrote it, and I think we've done it on AI. We're just trying to mix things up a little bit.
Go on then, Jim. Hit me with it.
Right. Welcome, folks, to the Rugby Pod, where the banter is loose and the quips are odd. From coaching picks to Hong Kong trips and transfer sagas, seeing players jump ships with an exclamation mark. Andy Farrell is on the prowl, selecting Lions coaches and hear them growl. Will he choose a team, tried and true, or throw in someone wild who needs, new? Mr. George Ford of Sale, he's not done yet, Andrew. No, he's not. Write him off at your peril. There's spiral bombs to be spun. We can confidently say Henry Pollock has broken through and his breath smelled. No, he's the real deal. Would look good in red too. The transfer mill is spinning fast. Who's out, who's in, who's left aghast? Leinster, Sale, Tigers calls. Contract signed in hotel halls. Rob, this is shite. So settle back and enjoy the ride. But most importantly, all of you, make sure you're subscribed. Get it? Oh, I see what you've done there. We need more subscribers on Spotify.
Ending. Settle back, peel back, and make sure you're subscribed on Spotify, James.
Yeah, I prefer that one. Yeah, peel it back.
Mate, that's decent. That is good from you.
I saw your cringe in your face, Andrew. I could see the little bit of cringe.
Well, I'm trying to work out when you wrote it because...
Rob wrote it. All right, Rob wrote it. I'm reading it.
Well, don't ruin the magic.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. Okay, I wrote it.
I thought it was a new you, Jim, because you turned down many drinks in Hong Kong. You were training in the gym. You were speaking riddles when you're out there. So maybe the riddle is back. Riddle me this, riddle me that. Jim's written a poem, so... Peel back.
I'm a new man.
You sound like a broken man, Jim.
Oh, it's just travel. Just the travel breaks me, but you can't moan. Business class on Cathay Pacific, you can moan about the travel. But I am a big man, Andrew. You know, you spent the last 2 or 3 months with me. You've seen the highs and lows of being an athletic avatar of a human being. And travel is the great Achilles heel of the great man, which is me.
I love the way you say a athletic avatar of a human being when actually you're just a big carcass.
Yes.
You're just a big carcass that gets about, travels a lot. You got your knees around your ears half the time. But it was a pleasure, James. Absolute pleasure.
It was, but you did see the Rob. You missed it in Hong Kong. You knew what was happening. You had the real me and the real Andrew, and the funniest thing was, if I can just share this one moment, Andrew, please.
Depends what it is. It might have been my twin brother. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so it might have been Andrew's twin brother, but the first night we've got there, I've had an early night, maybe 1 a.m, 2 a.m. in the morning, jet lagged like anything, right? Because we're traveling 13 hours onto the side of the world. Get up in the morning, first thing you do, coffee, right? So I walk out the hotel at 7:30 in the morning. As I'm walking out the hotel, Andrew Goode's walking in, or someone that looked like him.
I was sticking to English time, mate. That's all I was doing. So
acclimatising.
Yeah, stick to English time so the jet lag doesn't hit you. But Yeah, good trip. We'll leave the demons there, shall we, James? And we should talk things about rugby on the Rugby Pod.
Before we get into that, can I just say, because we missed Hong Kong for a year and I missed it. I didn't realise how much I missed it. It's the centre of the earth. They've got a new stadium there, but there's a heartbeat of rugby there from all walks of life, and every year they do the My Name's Doddy dinner and you see the stars of old, the stars of, I'm not going to say new, the stars of old. A lot of the stars of old. The new stars don't go there yet. They don't go until they're retired because they might not come home. But brilliant place to go, brilliant players, brilliant history, and the new stadium's awesome as well. So as tired as I am, I absolutely loved it.
Talk to me then about the British and Irish Lions coaching team. Any surprises?
Well, interestingly, and I'll put my hands up here, we were chatting about it in the week, and you go through the coaches, and no one's questioning Andy Farrell and what he does, any which way, because he's a legend of a bloke, first and foremost. His coaching credentials speak for themselves, what he's done with Ireland, how he treats players, his relationships with people across the whole spectrum of rugby. You never hear a bad word said against him or about him. And when you look at his coaching ticket, I've looked at it and I've gone, right, let's have a look into some of these people. And I'll put my hands up. I've called John Dalziel, because I didn't know who he was. So you have to do a bit of research. DL, yeah, there you go. You've got to trust Faz, and people have said about Richard Wigglesworth, being the attack and kicking strategy coach, and then comparing that to how England attacked. But Andy Farrell deals in people and relationships and understanding of bonds and things like that. He's known Wiggy for a long time. The coaches that he's got with him in terms of Andrew Goodman, he's known for a fair while. Simon Easterby speaks for himself. He's worked with Faz for a long time, and obviously is a fantastic coach to be in that Ireland environment for as long as he has been. And John Fogarty as well. You speak about these people and there isn't many bad things that you hear about them, if any, right? So he's got together a bunch of coaches that he can work with on a personal level. He knows well, he knows what he's going to get, but ultimately you go and trust him.
I thought it was all right. Yeah. When I saw it come out, I weren't like, wow. I weren't like, no. But naturally, it's going to be a talking point. And the next big showcase is the British and Irish Lions tour. Like we know, the players is the big thing, right? And I've never seen the coaching thing as such a big thing, but it felt like it was a really big thing last week when you looked at all the interactions around it, especially around Richard Wigglesworth for some reason. I mean, when I saw it announced, it came out that he was the attack coach, and then I don't know whether that's subtly changed now to kicking strategy coach, but I'm sure that he was named as the attack coach.
Yeah, I read it as attack and kicking strategy coach.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I read it with one jet-lagged eye.
Obviously, with Andrew Goodman as well, the Ireland attack coach, Faz being the head coach, they'll have their understanding of how they want to play, and Wiggy will fit into that. So it'll be a combination of three of them getting their heads together and talking about the attack. So, if Steve Borthwick's head coach, it's box kicking central, right? And box kicking has a part in the game and a place in the game. But I think with Andrew Goodman and Faz and Wiggy together, with the players at their disposal and going to Australia, playing on hard grounds, you ain't going to see just box kicking. So, I think
and that was my point, Goodey. Sorry, just on that around Wiggy, that was just some of the interactions that I saw. And then I saw the interactions around John Dalziel, the Scotland forwards coach from the Borders, who's a great man, by the way. We can maybe get into that. But I'm aligned with you. Andy Farrell is Andy Farrell. He's picking good men. First and foremost, he's picking good men. And there's all the talk about Paul O'Connell. Paul O'Connell's been on the last few tours as a player and a coach. I actually quite like it that it's freshened up. They're young, like it's new. And at the end of the day, Andy Farrell is steering the ship. Like these are the coaches that are in place. But we know, and everyone who's watched behind the scenes stuff or spoken to anyone who's played for the British and Irish Lions, it's player led. Right, these coaches are going to be facilitating a framework and kind of in control of the training session. The players that go are going to be the ones driving the team. So we get in there now. Like it feels like the excitement's building. Again, being in Hong Kong with a few of the Australian lads as well, some of the greats gone by, there's a real excitement about the tour now. And everyone's going to be like picking out little bits, John Dalziel, is he the right guy to run the forwards for the Lions? How many Scotland players does that mean? Does that mean there's going to be more Scotland players in the team? With Wiggy involved, does that mean there's going to be a box kicking strategy as opposed to a Ronan O'Gara involved where he likes to play a little bit more? And it's cool, right? This is what we want. We want to be talking about it in the lead up about how the teams are going to be made up, because the team's going to be made up appropriately to how they're going to want to play. And if it was predominantly a kicking game, then we go back to it. You pick a Ben Spencer and Owen Farrell comes in. Or if they're going to open it up, you go for a Jameson Gibson Park or even a Thomas Williams with how good he's been for Gloucester, and a Finn Russell at 10. You know, it's good. I'm really happy for John DL as well to have that Scotland influence, and that maybe shows that there is going to be a Scotland or a few Scotland players in that mix, or a tartan thread running through the British and Irish Lions, because you actually think out of all the Scotland team, the forwards are the hard ones to pick from Scotland because the backs have been so good. So maybe there's an element in there that there's going to be a few more Scots in the forwards than we think. But with what Scotland have got up front compared to what other teams and how John Dial's made up that team, he's done a brilliant job. Like, you think of the line-out's been one of the best line-outs. Like, the scrum's been really good, their forward play. And all the things we know, they lack a little bit of killer instincts and a bit of power, but their structures and the way that they're set up, if you think back to that France game in the Six Nations, how they dealt with France, this is forwards physically, but some of the shapes they were putting on the ball, like how they were coming on around the breakdown. So John Dale's actually a really good shout, to be fair. I'm really happy for him.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's not many people going, you should have picked him, and him as coaches. So you just got to back Faz and go. And it's one of these things, when you see Faz stood up with his Lions polo shirt on or whatever he's wearing,
it looks right.
It does, doesn't it? You look at him and you go, any player would do anything to try and run through a brick wall for that bloke, right? And so off the back of it, I'm buzzing for the tour now, and the countdown to when they select the squad, and we're all going to start naming who we think, who are bolters, who's got an outside chance, who's nailed on, and these conversations grow the interest more and more as we get closer to those announcements. And I think it's an exciting first step to what is going to be an epic tour. What do you make of his comments about looking at the lads playing in France? Do you think he actually means that, like, he is going to select an Owen Faz, Courtney Laws, Sinks, or do you think he's just saying that just to keep your options open?
Not them three, Rob, but he's keeping the door open for Jack Willis. Blair Kinghorn. And Blair Kinghorn, I mean, who will go, but specifically Jack Willis, who hasn't played international rugby for England over the years. And look, there's an old romantic in me that, would love to see a Courtney Laws go and do that. You don't go from playing for Brive to then pick him on the British and Irish Lions tour. He's a legend, but he's been there and done that. I think that it keeps the door open for Jack Willis. I think that's effectively it. And Owen Farrell, it'll be interesting to see how he comes back at the end of the season. He's back fit now. So Owen Farrell is his son. And what a story that would be. And some people might be annoyed with that. And that might be something where people are like, no, you've got so-and-so's better at Who? Tell me someone that's better than Owen Farrell when Owen Farrell is 100% fit and at his best. In what position, James? 10 or 12, or in the squad. 12's the only Tuipulotu. Okay. Bundyaki. Tom Jordan. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, I know what you mean. Ultimate competitor. And you can't, if you're picking the squad today, you ain't picking Owen Farrell. You're not picking Courtney Laws. Faz has played 20 minutes here or there over the last 2 weeks off the bench for Racing. Ironically, Racing have won both the games, by the way. But, he's leaving doors open for everyone. He's not going to be dictated to. And we talked about it on here last week as well, didn't we? Just around the Welsh. And, we've spoken about it in our live shows. Is there going to be any Wales players getting on the tour? Is it going to be you have to have a Wales player as a token gesture? Faz came out in the press conference, didn't he, and just went, nah, I don't feel the need to pick anyone or not pick anyone. He'll pick who he wants, who he thinks is right from a rugby playing perspective and how he wants the makeup of the team to look and how they want to play, but also a personal perspective and a people's perspective of how they're going to fit into a squad. So he's leaving doors open left, right and centre. I think me and you, Jim, we're out the equation, definitely, but what a great story it would be. Imagine Owen Farrell gets called up late because he's proven his fitness. There's a couple of injuries and then he kicks the winner in the third test to win the series. Father, son, win the series. You could see that sort of shit happening, right? You never write your own fairy tales, but ultimately, when your dad's the coach, you got half a chance. I'll tell you what I can see happening. And I'm not just saying this off the back of a chip and chase and skinning a load of players at the weekend. Maybe I am because it's gone viral. But Henry Pollock, there's always a young lad that goes on tour. I'm trying to think if there's been like a non-cap before. I don't think there has.
I think Will Greenwood was the last one in 97.
Right. So it was a thing then in 97.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like seeing a young British and Irish Lion go. Keith Owes was the one back in 2009, was it?
2009, I think, yeah.
Yeah, 2009. I tell you now, can see Henry Pollock going, regardless of the talent that's littered in the back row. If I was to put my name to a bolter going or an outside bet, and he's probably not even an outside bet. What he did in that Wales game, albeit Wales last game, England were winning comfortably, but how he's come back off the back of it, and there's a real kind of energy and movement behind this young lad on social media as well, and the brand and everything around that. But the way that he's played the last 2 weeks, when he came off the bench last week and he started this week, wow.
Yeah.
And I know it's the Prem, high scoring, but wowzers in everything, both sides of the ball. And if I was a betting man, he's 20 years old. He's just 20. And he's in the back row, the most congested position. If I'm to make a shout, I reckon he goes. Not in place of anyone else. You know, if a Jack Willis goes or both Currys go or a Rory Darge, I hope Faz picks the right players. But as an outside bolter.
Who are you picking then? Are you picking Josh van der Fleer or Henry Pollock if there's one spot available?
Josh van der Fleer.
Okay.
But the romantic in me wants to pick a 20-year-old lad who's carving up.
Yeah.
Because it adds to that story and the narrative, doesn't it? And the fact that hopefully he'll stop playing for England and he'll play for Scotland when he's 25.
Well, mate, that's never happening. He'll be on a central contract.
What about that when he came on the pod, Goodey, and he's like, I used to watch you play for Scotland. And basically he said he was put off by it. It's my fault.
He decided he was English because he watched Jim Hamilton lose the Calcutta Cup about 8 times for Scotland. But
I had a load of messages off the back of that, off social media. Like some kind of joking, some not joking.
Basically blaming you for losing a Scotsman to England. But anyway.
Can you see him going?
I can, yeah. And not from a romantic perspective of being a youngster, just from a talent perspective. Like he breaks tackles, he's quick, you know, he's got absolutely no fear, sticks his head in the spokes, competes at breakdowns, has got X Factor ball in hand.
Big moments.
I can definitely see him going. But ultimately, for him to go, you've got to leave someone out. And, you know, whether that's, as you said, one of the Curry boys, you could pick either of them, you could pick Van der Fleer. You know, you've got a Ben Earl, you've got Rory Darge, Jamie Ritchie in the mix, Fagerson, you know, Jack Dempsey, Jack Morgan. You know, there's the strongest probably area of the British and Irish Lions to pick from is the back row.
He's different to any of them, though. That's the one thing in this. I was chatting to my agent about it, and we were talking about young athletes and Junior Kapoku and the fact that he was the man and now Henry's the man. At that under-20s age group coming through.
Yeah.
And he's like us from an agent's perspective and a money and a worth and players that are developing into rock stars, and he's just got it. He's just got a point of difference. You think of every game that he's played, even the Wales game, he comes on, right, okay, great stuff. The camera's up, first thing's a scrum, he's messing around with, you know, come on, he's getting all the lads jeered up. But everyone's talking about him. You know what I mean? There was so much to talk about that game, but everyone, the headline was the Dogs Pollocks.
The Dogs Pollocks, I like that.
Whatever it is, like whatever people are talking about. But again, this weekend, really, if you were to say, right, what stood out this weekend, you'd be right, Henry Bollocks, right? Like that's what you'd be saying. That literally, that's what's sticking out. The analogy works. His Pollocks are sticking out.
We'll see if we can get that to stick. It's interesting. Like I completely get that bolter. I've got another bolter, which is
go on. Give me some hint. Let me see.
He's played international rugby a bit, not masses, but a bit. And it's a position I don't think we've got huge strength in.
Give me the position.
Oh, it's in the backs.
Scrum half.
There we go.
And he looks like a young boy.
Yes.
I know where you're going with this. Is he small like a young boy?
He's very small like a young boy, yes.
Does he speak like an Irish young boy?
He does speak like an Irish young boy. And
does he have small legs like a young boy?
He does, yes. He does.
Is he hung? Craig Casey.
Yes. Yeah. Back for Munster. He's always sort of been second choice behind Jameson Gibson-Park, who is nailed on as our starting 9 as it stands. But when you're looking at the other 9s, and Craig Casey was injured for the whole of the Six Nations, I'm pretty sure. He's just come back from Munster. He's a class player. He perhaps, to me, is a bolter that no one's really talking about from the Six Nations.
Oh, I like that.
Ultimately, Faz knows him well as well. And, will understand how he operates and, the brand of rugby that he can play. And he will fit into an Andy Farrell kind of system. And so, my bolter's going to be Craig Casey.
Yeah, I can see that as well.
You probably aren't going to like this, lads, but my bolter... No, he's definitely not a bolter because he's got nearly 100 caps for England.
A consideration.
Sale, yes, a consideration. And he looked class in Sale's game against Northampton on Friday night. George Ford. I know you're maybe...
What, for British and Irish Lions?
I just don't think you can rule him out. Like, look at the options at 10. Other than Finn Russell, they're all lads with very little experience. You need a man that's been there and done it.
Set Henry
George
Pollock
Ford.
up as well. They've got that connection already. Andrew, over to you, mate.
Yeah, I can't see it. I'll be honest. He's a good player. He's third choice for England at 10. He had a good 20 minutes against Wales when he came on. 99 caps, experience. He's picking his son before he's picking George Ford. Is big Andy Farrell. I'd say so. Finn Russell's first choice fly half as it stands, and deservedly so. He's gone back from the Six Nations and torn up for Bath. And then you're looking around, you've got Prendergast, you've got Marcus Smith, you've got Finn Smith. Tom Jordan covers a bit of 10 as well. So, while George Ford has had a decent 20 minutes, he's going to be having to tackle Karevi, he's going to be having to tackle Swahili, and the bloke can't tackle. And that's coming from me, who couldn't tackle a sausage roll. I have, and I can, but he can't be in Lions consideration.
And this is
surely.
the hard thing, right? Because, Rob, you're now going back, and so am I to a degree, and looking at the Prem and being like, how good? But the level is so much lower than it was. And I say that without trying to sound negative. Less teams in there, much more high scoring, and we've seen the International and the Champions Cup levelling up from the Prem, where it was so much closer. Like, the gap was a lot smaller than it is now. And some of the defence is optional. It's great, like the Gloucester-Bristol game, to watch that 50-odd points and Bristol score a bucket load as well. Some of them are walking through defences. And George Ford, at the level of Premiership, looked world-class because of how the games are unfolding. And I think he's a brilliant player. He's been brilliant for some of the big games that England have won over the years. But I just think the consideration has to be internationally. I know that's almost contradicting what I'm saying about Henry Pollock playing them 2 games, but we're talking about a lad that could go as a bolter. You take George Ford, you're taking him for the training week to bring everyone together and being another coach who can still play, and there could be an argument for that. There could be. You could argue that is why someone like George Ford's going, and then there's a midweek influence in that space. But I just think we can sometimes got the blinkers on. And this is the thing with Finn Russell. He's gone back to Bath and he's absolutely carved up, like Goodey said. But you're like, yeah. And I agree he's still going to start. But the levels are just completely different between international rugby and what Australia are going to put out there physically. And that is the one Achilles heel that he's got. And you can't be going to a Lions tour when you've got these Fijian, Australian, Tongan, Samoan, Suai he's running like absolute molefoles down your channel.
Talking about the Prem game, though, obviously Sale beating Northampton 27-24. And I don't know where to start with it, because Northampton champions, you spoke about George Ford's performance. Roebuck scored a try as well. Coming off the bench, he looked good. Saints, what the FNL? You won it last year. FNL Mike.
FNL
you won it
Mike's
last
in the
year.
factory. Oh, FNL.
You won it last year, and you ain't even making the top 4 this year. What has gone on at Saints? And I know they've lost a load of players and experience and all that stuff, but they got humbled last week by Leicester. They've got Henry Pollock scoring tries for fun, but Sale were just too good for him.
Saints are out then, but Bath are, you mentioned it there, Goody. Bath are absolutely flying, aren't they?
Favourites.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
Gloucester as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good teams left in, contention, right? But Bath are head and shoulders at the minute, as it stands, head and shoulders above any other team in how they play. Lee Blackett as a coach and the shapes that they put on, the understanding how to play with Finn, how to play off Finn, Finn pulling the strings, the offloading the forward pack.
The depth.
Yeah. What are you saying, Jim? Salary cap or what?
You said it, not me. You can spend as much as you want. I don't care. Get your hoovers in your pocket, hoover it all out, keep it in the bag. Dyson Hoovers don't even have bags, do they? No. Get it in there so everyone can see. I don't care. Pay them what you want. Yeah. And they probably are. Yeah. Allegedly.
And they have got a great squad, right? You know, Ted Hill played exceptionally well at the weekend. They dominated Quins physically. You know, they had the bonus point after about 21 minutes. And it's just the accuracy of attack. And I always think when I go watch these games and the sun's out, I don't know what it is, but Jim Hamilton's in my head because he always goes, summer rugby is round the corner. But actually, when you see the shape on attack, the accuracy, you know, you've got Will the Horse Muir scoring in one corner. You've got Joe Cock and a Cigar scoring in another corner. Ajomo was class in the centres as well, got the intercept. I loved it. Did you see when he gets the intercept, Jim? Cock and a Singer's trying to race him to the try line. And he'd scored. He knew he'd scored, and you'd probably jog it in. But Cock and a Singer put the afterburners on, and they were laughing. So obviously there's some bet going on around who could make the try line first. But yeah, they just look really sharp. Their attack, they're physical. You know, they've got a good line-out drive, great scrum. You know, you've got Will Stewart as one tight head. You got Thomas DeToy as the other tight head. You haven't got a weakness in your squad, I don't think, unless Finn Russell gets injured. That's the only thing. And, you know, the big game mentality of winning a final and that question mark, because they haven't done it for a long time. And this squad, I don't think many of them would have won, and I might be completely wrong here, but I don't think many, if any, have won many trophies. So knockout rugby is a different beast, isn't it? But league rugby, as it stands, I'm watching them sit top of the Prem, ripping teams to shreds week in, week out. Any which way. Yeah. It's, you know, it's a pleasure to watch, really, isn't it? Mm. Do you know what it brings me back to, James? And you'll remember this. Remember when we were at Leicester and we dominated the league, finishing top, you know, smashing teams left, right and centre in the league, got to the playoffs, we scraped through a semi-final, win a semi-final, couldn't win a final for a few years. And that's a different pressure, right? Yeah, we had teams, I remember that Sale final we lost, we were massive favourites to play and beat Sale, and they carved us up that day.
I scored though.
You did score. from 35 centimetres out, wasn't it? They all count. They all count, yeah. James. But that's the thing. It's a similar analogy to that Leicester team where we dominated from September through till May, and then come the knockouts, fucking our arses fell out.
And there you go. And that's all that matters. And if a team like Sarries gets all the way there, that is the worry, right? Any given Sunday and all that. Yeah.
Well, Saturday. The final's on a Saturday.
Yeah,
but
Sunday
we'll
sounds better. Sunday sounds better, doesn't it?
It does, Jim. What's these rumours about Finn Russell then, James? You're a good friend.
No, hang on.
Is he leaving Bath? Are they not giving him enough hoovers?
Andrew, okay.
Is he going to Leicester?
Give the listeners some context. What have I said about Finn Russell? Nothing. Rob said before the show, I'm hearing rumours. Let's talk about Finn leaving Bath. He could go to Leicester. Go on, Rob. What have you heard then, Rob? Because it ain't from me, and I don't want to put my name to it. What have you heard, Rob?
Well, his contract ends next year anyway, doesn't it? He's only there till 2026.
So Finn's been texting you saying, get this out there on the pod.
He's got another year, though.
Well, he was pictured chatting to the Racing owner at the Six Nations.
Okay, yeah. So, he was seen in Nando's in Leicester, was he, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, I did see online Finn Smith was seen in a Nando's in Leicester this week.
Oh, there we go, another one.
Oh, yeah, I bet you did, Rob. I am loving it. Yeah, of course, mate. Oh, my word.
Jim, I might have seen Finn Russell in a gymnastics establishment in Glasgow. I mean, throw that rumour out there as well.
Yeah, who knows what's true. But, Rob, I like it, mate. I do like it. So, what rumours have you got then, Rob? So, if you've got Finn Russell's leaving to go to, what, Leicester? He ain't going to Leicester, is he? He's going to Japan, or maybe back to France if he was to leave in a year's time. But I've not heard anything. If you're Bath and you're looking at how good you are with Finn Russell, you're doing everything you can to keep him.
That 1 million goes to 2 million pretty quickly, doesn't it?
Well, the salary cap goes up next year as well, doesn't it? next
Fuck him.
season.
Give him 3. Give him 3 million.
And they've got Carreras coming in from Gloucester as well next. Imagine Finn at 10 and Carreras at 15.
How good's he been for Gloucester, by the way?
Speaking of Gloucester, they're up to 4th now as well, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah, I had them in top 4 beginning of the season. So.
You what? I think you had him in 9th, Jim.
I did. Fair play. Fair play. Just a really good brand of rugby, which I didn't think you'd nail in year 1 of changing the brand of rugby. And you know, Goodey, we've been in teams where you change the way that you play. I remember being at Saracens and they went from the kicking game to the wide, more attack, offloading, completely un-Saracens way. And it took 2 or 3 years. And off the back of doing that, we went on to win things for a number of other reasons. We had the likes of Scout Burger as your third choice 6, but that's a story for another day. But Gloucester, with the decent weather, with the pitch, with the fact that they're underdogs, with bringing in Thomas Williams specifically, wowzers, they look good. Christian Wade as well, what a signing.
Yeah.
Haven't spoken about him as much as he probably deserves. Gets a hat-trick again at the weekend. Is he taking over from Chris Ashton?
In terms of most hat-tricks in the Premiership, yes, James.
There we go. Look, it's
Did
just
your one
stats
from
are-
India
stats.
count or not? Did that count? Or?
No, because I was James Hamilton, so no one would know.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the brand of rugby is ridiculous, and Bristol's got Bristolsed, if that makes sense. Gloucester were phenomenal, flew out into a 20-odd point lead. They were physical. Seb Atkinson at 12, he is a proper
Very
player.
good.
Proper baller, big lad, and I've always been impressed by him. And he never gets the accolades, but you watch his performances week in, week out.
Ball at the line, physicality.
Normally, quietly just goes about his business, doing things that aren't spectacular, but when you understand good 12 play, and you said it then, Jim, ball at the line, he is playing so close to the defensive line and running angles that hold and sit defenders down, that create space for others. Hathaway, you know, the line he picks, Atkinson eventually scores. The only reason Hathaway makes that break is because of the line that Seb Atkinson picks, and then he gives it back on the inside to Seb to score. But the speed, the accuracy they had, and then Thomas Williams, you are taking the piss with the no-look basketball offload over your head.
I weren't that impressed with that.
Are you joking?
I was impressed with the catch, but not that I could do loads of them. back in
No,
the day.
James. No,
That is one of the
James.
easiest pass. Rob, you can shake your head, Rob. Rob, you shake your head, mate. Yeah, that's fine.
Mate, he draws 3 players in by him looking the other way.
They
and
were
then
coming
just goes
towards
up.
him. They were coming towards him.
Mate,
Anyway.
it was ridiculous. It was a world-class bit of skill. And that, to me, that's good enough to go on the lines tool. Just that, look one way, leave a basketball offload over the top. It was class, mate. I don't even understand how you were saying that you could do that, James.
I'm telling you now, I could do that with me basketball background. I dislocate my finger in the ring trying to slam dunk it, and I spewed over a load of Chinese kids when I shouted Yao Ming when I was in Hong Kong because I was steaming. Yao Ming! And then I spewed over all the kids. Had a bug. But yeah, I didn't realise Thomas Williams played basketball for Wales. That's it. You see the Theo McFarlane as well. There's a crossover here. Maybe that's the sport, not NFL. Right then, lads, off the success of the Riddle and being stopped any which way in the new Hong Kong stadium, we've got to go one more. We've got to go one more. People were sending me videos of other people trying to do the Chicago Riddle. So for another week, and it might be the last week, it might be the start of all the weeks, but riddle me this, Rob. Riddle me that, Andrew. It's the return of the Riddle. And for that, as smelly, as clean, as long as it may be, just peel back. Hit me.
Why is it smelly, James? That's not the riddle, but why is it smelly?
But I'm sure people listen to this. There will be a few.
Okay, I hear you.
So
I hear
I'm
you.
ticking every box along the way.
Can I just give you a bit of background on this riddle in the research? So in the
Yes.
research, this was part of a test that is, are you smarter than a 5th grader? Which I thought was like year 10 at school, something like that. Actually, a 5th grader is a 10-year-old, Jim.
Yes.
So this is the test on whether you are smarter than a 10-year-old.
Year
Okay.
5. Year
Right.
5 in Old English money.
Okay, well, I can tell you now, 10 is probably the level looking at the kids' homework. I'll be honest.
Is that all you got?
Yes. Honesty.
Okay, James.
Right.
Good honesty. Right, let's start with this. What 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it?
Do you know, Andrew?
I do, James.
Right, so what 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it? So 5-letter word. So
Yeah. You Sam, that's
trousers, trousers. So what trousers become short? Because then you can cut the trousers.
okay.
Is that all right? Am I on the? That's not 5 letters. Jeans.
No.
Jeans. So what 5-letter words become shorter when you add 2 letters to it?
What 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it?
So jeans, isn't it? So I'm not, because I'm trying to think outside of the box. So jeans, you can make shorter. That's 5 letters. So I've nailed that bit.
Yeah.
Give me another hint.
Well, inadvertently, you're on the right path by what you just said, but you're also
so
miles away.
It's about making something shorter.
Yes.
Right, so we're on that bit. Okay, so I'm reverse engineering it.
Like you said,
a 5-letter word. Go on. Like I said, what?
like you said, it's about making something shorter. So what 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it?
Why are you saying shorter for?
Well, it's in the question, James.
Okay, what 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it? Shorter, her hair. Hairs.
You could cut
hair.
You could use Yes, here we go. You could use this for hair.
Here we
to do
go.
with hair.
So it's not jeans. Hairs, hairy, muffser, bushes.
Well, bush and bushes. That's
Cut shorter.
but that's plural. So bushes is plural of bush.
Yeah, but if you put that exclamate the comma in or whatever is that flick thing at the top, then that makes, is that a letter?
That's not in bushes, no.
Bushes.
No, bushes is just bushes.
What 5-letter word becomes shorter?
Shorter.
1, 2, 3, 4. Her. Short her.
Shorter.
Make her shorter. Make
It's nothing to do with be careful. Where are you going?
make. Give me another hint.
It's in the question. The hint is in the question,
5-letter
James.
Words. Question. Letters. 2
Think more literally, Jim.
letters. Words. 2 words. 2 letters. 5. What 5? 5. 5's. 5th.
Hong Kong's got him, basically. All we know is Hong Kong has got him.
What 5-letter word becomes shorter? Shorter. Short. 1, 2. Short. Short her. Shoulder?
Hold on, you were nearly there, Jim. You were nearly there.
Short her when you add 2 letters to it. Fuck knows, lads.
Hold on, you're there. Jim, you're there. You are literally there. What were you just saying?
What 5-letter words become shorter when you add 2 letters?
There's no her in it. There's no her in it. Shorter.
Short
Come
hair.
on. No, there's no hair.
2 letters becomes shorter. Shorter hair. I can't get that.
Here we go. Here we go.
Short hair.
So shorter hair. Yeah, here we go. Shorter hair. So when you go to the barbers and they say
Fade. F-A-D-E.
you go to the barbers and they say how
Leave
short
the biscuit. Leave the biscuit.
Yeah. Leave the biscuit, but how short do you want it, sir?
Buzz.
What would you say?
Short, but not too short.
Which means
Short.
you've got
Hey!
it's short.
Shorter.
There we go, Jim. Short and shorter. So
Oh
the 2
my
letters that you add.
Hang on. Is shorter.
There you
So
go.
what 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it? Shorter.
There
Shorter.
you go, Jim. There
I'm telling
go.
you now, 10-year-old kids ain't getting that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why does my brain not work like that? It just works my brain works in like comedy and dirty jokes. That's it. Okay, well, riddle me this, lads. Riddle me that. I've just solved it. Would you agree that I've solved it with the help of
Just
my
about.
team? Yeah.
Yes,
Peel
James.
back.
Peel back. Right, Jim. Let's look elsewhere. We've done some Prem. We need some other news. So our special segment is In Other News. Well, James, what is going on at our old club, the Sharks? Leinster's under 14s went over to Derbs. Max Deegan's jumping in swimming pools as the skipper. 10-7. I mean, it wasn't a great game, but Sia Khaleesi's playing. They've got loads of boys playing. No Eben, but it's a good team.
Good front row.
Yeah. What's going on?
Well, I got no idea. I don't know what's going on. I mean, you'd expect the Sharks at home, and we know how hard it is to travel, to beat Leinster. So my mate Marco Massotti ain't going to be happy. So that's, I mean, yeah, it's just not good enough, is it? I mean, they're still fourth in the URC. They're still in contention, but...
Yeah. Do you know what about the Sharks? They're a team that get to the playoffs, and if they're in fourth, they get home quarter-final. With the players they've got, you wouldn't fancy playing them in the playoffs, would you? Wherever.
No.
You know, Eben will be back. You know, you've got the whole front row. You've got Sia Khaleesi. Esther Hazen's back fit again now. And so maybe their running is just stay in that mix to the end of the season and then just try and blitz the playoffs. So while I agree that stones are being thrown around, you know, why aren't they performing way better than they have done? And normally when you're looking at it, you're probably talking Champions Cup as well because they were poor in that. But you had the travel in. I'm telling you now, when they're in the playoffs, they're a proper outfit, the Sharks. And I'm pretty sure they'll want to right a few wrongs from the last couple of years and try and win the thing.
I don't think we've really spoken about him, but how good is it to see Geordie Barrett playing for Leinster?
Oh, he's... Mate...
So cool. He's such
Well,
a
we
good
said
player.
that. Yeah, he is amazing, mate.
Yeah.
He is top 5 players. Him and RG. Of course it's RG, but Geordie Barrett, because you mentioned him there, what a signing.
Yeah.
And he's one of them where he's come in, no injuries. He's clearly added to the environment. You can see some of the socials behind, embedded himself, went over there as a young lad with a family, or his family, specifically his dad and his brothers and his mum, and wanted to go back and have a sabbatical. And it's one of them. He ain't gone to Japan. He's gone to the URC and the Champions Cup where it's tough. It's week on week. And he has given a brilliant account of himself. He's elevated himself as a player and won the hearts and minds of Irish people, which isn't easy to do, especially as a Kiwi, I'm sure.
Do you know what is amazing? Rob's just brought up Geordie Barrett. He didn't even fucking play at the weekend, lads.
Yeah.
Like he has done exceptionally well, but we're talking about a young Leinster team. Jimmy O'Brien at fullback, Tommy O'Brien on the wing, Andrew Osborne on the other wing. He's that good, and Leinster are that good. Don't even need to play him. RG Snyman not playing either. It's it was a real class effort from Leinster. They lost last week, didn't they, over in South Africa as well. And so, you know, they lost to the Bulls, who are coming into some good form and are Leinster's bogey team, really. But to bounce back the way they did with the team that they put out, apart from Cian Healy, who was about 46, he started at loose head prop. It's a valiant effort from Leinster, and obviously they have rested their Ireland players and their first choice players going into this weekend's massive Champions Cup last 16 game against Quins, which is probably going to be 50 points.
Speaking of Geordie Barrett as well, and rumours, more rumour mill,
Here you go, Rob.
Damien Willemser as well. What do you know about this?
Is he going to Leinster, Damien Willemser? Have you heard about this?
That's what I read on Reddit this week.
Yeah, he read it on Reddit, and also Rob's mate's brother's guy who works at a chip shop said he saw a guy who looked like Damien Willemser, who had a South African accent, walk into the chip shop.
Where, in Stockton? Or in Dublin?
No, in Dublin.
Oh,
in
okay,
Dublin.
Yeah, in Stockton, yeah. And Newcastle going bust, didn't they, Rob? Unless everyone bails them out. But they're
Why
fine for
are you being
money,
horrible?
though. Well, they're
Why are
fine
you
for
being
money,
horrible?
though. I got called out on social media. Mark, the media guy, said they're fine for money. Money's no issue.
We shouldn't laugh, but they need a £4 million loan apparently from all the other
So
clubs.
they ain't signing Damien Willems, are they? But you could
No.
see Leinster doing that. And I don't know, I wonder what the fans think about that, because we know how good the Leinster Academy is, and surely with Geordie Barrett being there and the likes of, I don't know, you put a Jamie Osborne in 12, I'm not fully versed on some of the young players coming through, but surely the influence that Geordie Barrett's had on the team, there's some good youngsters coming through. So I don't know. I'd be surprised to see Damien Willems to come in.
It's a good and a bad thing, isn't it? The whole Geordie Barrett thing. He's obviously class. He's obviously embedding himself and he's helping out the young kids. But Hugo Keenan's your first choice fullback at Leinster. Jimmy O'Brien is your second choice fullback. Both Irish internationals. How's anyone getting a game? Like you want these players there to add value and some stardust and up the ante around trying to help Leinster win a Champions Cup, but also the pathway to the young kids you need to see that have the visuals of being able to play for Leinster in the URC and not just the Dragons away game where you can send anyone and beat them. But the proof's in the pudding, isn't it? If we know Geordie Barrett's leaving at the end of the season, it's been a success for them, so they're probably looking to replace him. I see RG Snyman, Jim, has signed a contract extension as well. Again, poor Munster. They got absolutely no value out of him now. Leinster are getting max value and extending his contract. So good on him, the big mofo.
Talking of max value, the RFU, they're getting max value, if you ask Bill Sweeney and his mates, from Bill Sweeney. And he survives the confidence, or the no vote confidence, the no confidence vote. I don't even understand what this jargon is. Basically, I think they're keeping him on. And now, to quote the Financial Times, which it isn't, but Sweeney is quoted as saying, excuse me, so members have now given us an overwhelming mandate to shake up the archaic structures of how the game is run here, which continues to hold us back. My favourite place is Bath. He didn't say that bit, but that's the posh bit. And look, I'll put it out there. I like Bill Sweeney. I'm a big Bill Sweeney fan. I like the fact that he's a little bit rogue. He's putting himself out there. And I imagine that survives the no confidence vote. So, because what we were hearing was that there was a, what do you call it? A coup.
Yeah.
To try and get rid of him. But we've spoken about it on here, and it was all the stuff around the bonuses that he got paid. But actually, when you dig a bit further into it and you chat to people from the RFU, Goodey, which we do because we love our ruggers, and people might be lying to us. They might be lying to us, right? But you can only go on what you're told. And you can believe it or you don't believe it. But the Allianz deal was a bumper deal, right? And the naming stadium rights was the right way to go. I like it. I like that stuff. But also, even further into it, the grassroots stuff, which is very topical, can be quite emotion driven because it's the grassroots of the heartbeat of our game, that the RFU actually spend more money than any union in grassroots. And that's Big Bill. Big Bill saying that. He's signing it off. I know they sacked a load of people, which ain't good. That ain't good. But that is the landscape of rugby. Like, that's where it is. There's changes happening at World Rugby in different unions, and the RFU isn't immune to that. But yeah, fair play to Bill Sweeney. He survives the no confidence vote, Andrew. Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, a lot of the ill feeling was probably around the optics of the numbers coming out that he was earning, the bonus, the L-tip and all that stuff. And then the fact that just before they've had to lay off 40 odd people. Long-term incentive plan.
Well, I never.
Which is like a bonus, effectively, James. But it relates to work done in previous years where you end up getting a bonus further down the line.
Oh, like Bath.
Well, possibly from financial results and stuff like that. But I think the biggest thing out of it, and the biggest issue at the RFU and the community game, and there's all these boards and all these committees and all this stuff. The whole thing needs a shake-up, which Bill Sweeney has openly said. It needs reform. And there was a second vote, actually, on the evening. And a second motion was to expedite governance reform in the English game, which was overwhelmingly supported at the meeting. And then you go into the details of what Big Bill Beaumont, Sir Bill Beaumont, as we call him, and as he's known, talks about. And we need reform. Like, there's committees, there's people getting paid, doing gigs, as you know, Jim, in certain positions in rugby where money is being pissed up the wall, right? And there's committees and there's so much bureaucracy to get through to get to a decision and make decisions that the whole thing needs streamlining and reforming to give clear direction for people to make decisions and make change. And that's the biggest thing now that Bill Sweeney is going to be judged on, how quickly they can make the changes around the governance, around committees, and stripping out what is probably a load of deadwood. I think that's what's happening at World Rugby as well. The amount of money being wasted by unions, by, like World Rugby and different kind of governing bodies. We need to strip as much out as we can, streamline everything, and make it more proactive and more productive. And I think and I hope that is going to be Bill Sweeney's remit for the next sort of 6-9 months. And hopefully the game will see big reform and everything will be streamlined and there'll be plenty of collaboration between everyone. In other news as well, who you supported on Sunday? Because your old club Sarries went to your other old club Leicester, and Saracens got a bounce back victory from their poor performance last week against Quins, beating Leicester 29-22. Basically, don't fucking worry about forward passes, Luke Pearce, your ARs, your TMO.
Oh my word, Andrew, I can't believe you put that on social media.
Are you joking? What is the TMO and what is the AR doing? He stood in line with him. It's about
anything you can pick out at the weekend. Out of every single clip you can pick out at the weekend, you've picked something where if it is forward, it's flat.
Jim. If you think that, you are blind. And I know we got blind in Hong Kong in a different way, but Theo McFarland is stood in front of Jamie George.
You are blinded by coin, Andrew. That is it. That is all I'm saying.
Loyalty. Now, Sarries probably deserved the win, right? Leicester didn't help themselves. The overthrown line out where Theo Dan scores as well. But 2 tries from forward passes. I can forgive Elliot Daly's one onto Angus Hall because it was a wicked finish and that was borderline. But hang about. Jamie George passing it to Theo McFarland. I've put the clip out on X. Theo McFarland stood in front of him. It leads to a try. Basically, the TMO's having a poo. I've messaged Luke Pearce. He's like, mate, just UA, don't worry about it. Just UA. So, do you know
Andrew,
what? Sod the forward pass law now. Just let everything go.
Mate, you're talking to a bloke who supports Scotland. I live in Scotland, right? And we have been absolutely rinsed when it comes to decisions.
Robbed.
Do you think a pass that is literally as flat as
3
a
metres?
pancake?
Whatever.
It could be 6 metres. Let's just round it up to 10, right? A pass that is 10 metres forward compared to what Scotland have been through. Do you think I'm looking at that being, oh, he's got a point? I'm just thinking, fuck the police. That's what I'm thinking. Anything goes. Genuinely, after what happened to Scotland in that France game, whatever. Yeah, that's a backwards pass in the referee's eyes now.
Yeah, I think they're just encouraging letting everything go. But what I will say about Sarries, their start to the game, the energy they had, and Mark McCall said it before the game, didn't they?
Yeah.
They went into the depths of why they had no energy against Quins and it wasn't a Saracens performance. Geez, they rocked up against Leicester, didn't they? They got away with a bit.
They had to.
It was their season on the line pretty much. Do you reckon? Was it that bad?
I think, it was. Yeah, because, and we can maybe reference this, the Champions Cup, they've got Toulon this week. They're sending the second team there. And when that's divided opinion, we can maybe talk about that and the reasons why they're doing that. This was their season. But that was it, basically. And we know that Saracens, there's a heartbeat there, regardless of a team that is in transition or a team that hasn't been as good this year. And a Saracens team without an Owen Farrell and the Vunipolas and everything around that. This was it for them. That's why Marrow played as well. And he's played every minute of the last 14 games for club and country. Mental. You know my views on player welfare, but he's that integral to Saracens and he'll get a break now, I'm sure. And that was massive for Sarries. Yeah. And Leicester. Leicester are still in the fight, as we know. But a performance like that at home with that many errors, I suppose. But they nearly came back. And it's going to be a good run into the end of the season. But Sarries are not out yet.
Basically, if in doubt, just get some help from the TMO who's having a poo and an AR who's in line with the passes.
Or just flying headbutt at players on the floor and just take a yellow card. Okay.
I think the sun was in the assistant referee's eyes, so don't worry about it, lads.
Is there a 10 in World Rugby that hasn't been linked to this Leicester 10 shirt?
Me. I wore it 200 times, but they don't want me for the 201st time.
Big problem for Leicester. So you lose your head coach. I'm hearing Guzzi's re-signed at Stad. Smart Smart. Get out on the pod that you've signed for Leicester.
Has he
Everyone in
messaged you
Paris
to
is,
say that?
what is this? He hasn't. No, I told you I don't ask him because I don't want to be, hear no evil, speak no lies is how I like to say it. But yeah, apparently he signed at Stad, and that leaves Graham O'Rowntree, Wiggs Villy, Graham Leicester till he dies. But without a coach and without a 10, mate, Andrew,
Be interesting conversations, wouldn't it, right? Because if you're going out to 10s, like a Finn Smith, Rob said earlier he wanted Finn Russell in the mix as well. So
what are
Leicester
they
are
going to
obviously...
ask? Yeah, what are they going to say?
Who's your coaches next year?
Yeah.
Who's your head coach? And if it's Michael Checker, which we know it's not, but at the time they were having conversations, they were probably earlier in the season saying, we want Michael Checker to stay. So you're probably thinking that might happen. But now...
You need to know. You
like,
need to know
left?
what the game plan is.
So that we chatted about Crowley the other week, who's been linked with him. Finn Smith's been linked with it. I'm hearing Marnie LeBoc's being linked with it. And this is just rumours that I'm picking up on social media. I don't know anything from the club. I believe it's probably between Graham Rowntree and Paul Gustard. I don't know whether the Paul Gustard thing with Stade Francais is actually true, that he's re-signed. Jim, if you know that, then...
Well, but this is what I mean. You're picking now names. There ain't many out there. A Joey Carberry, maybe you mentioned that he could be English if he got the opportunity. Who else is there?
That's the thing. At the level when you've got Andre Pollard and Leicester, as soon as I left the club, Leicester always had a Big Ten. And basically when I was at the club, we were linked with Big Tens all the time. So they tried to sign Johnny, they tried to sign Stephen Jones, they tried to sign Magic Juan Hernandez. They've had Toby Flood, they've had George Ford, Freddie Burns. They've had some very good 10s. Andre Pollard's come in. And so you need a big name 10 or you need a very experienced international 10. And ultimately, that's the big question for Leicester. Who's filling Andre's boots and who's filling Michael Checker's boots? And you hope...
And sure you don't know any. And you don't know anything, Andrew.
I don't know anything, James.
Come on.
It's not my place to say anything, James.
It is your place. This is the podcast. We need to... Text me and I'll say it.
Should we move on?
Did you see Connacht fill out the GAA stadium?
Yeah, that was class.
That's quite cool.
Yeah.
Tripled their previous best attendance.
Yeah, it was class. And you know what, doing it against your nearest and dearest as well in Munster. Hell of a ding-dong. They're right in the mix. There's been loads of question marks around Munster. We talked about Graham O'Rowntree earlier on. He left them mid-season, didn't he? The question marks around who's going to take over. Went on for
loads
ages.
of emotional challenges as well. Peter O'Mahony, Jack Crowley, all of that stuff was as well around the team.
Yeah. You look at the URC league table now, and it's quite exciting, really. You've got the top four teams. Leinster are gone. Glasgow in 54, the Bulls in 50, the Hollywood Bet Sharks have got 45 points. But then anywhere from Munster all the way down, potentially, and this is strange to say, to Zebra in 15th, could end up making the top 8. The race for 8, Jim, is going to be epic, I think. Munster, 39 points, goes all the way down to Zebra. They're probably out of it, but in 27. The Lions, who got absolutely hosed by Glasgow at the weekend, they're in 14th on 30. So that mid-table, the battle for 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th is going to go down to the wire. And that's why Munster's victory over Connacht away at the GAA Stadium was a bloody good one at the weekend.
Shout out Ulster for their comeback against the Stormers as well.
Oh, thought it was going to be a 50 of Ravo's arm. 16-0 up after 8 minutes. Any which way, Ulster looked poor. And there was a lot of emotional drivers going to that game. Friend of the show, Stuart McCluskey's 200th game runs out with one of his kids. And yeah, it puts Ulster back in the race now for 8. They've been up and down this season as well. Lost some big games at home. Stormers, who I think I said at the beginning of the season that they were going to struggle this year, and 16-0 up against Ulster at the weekend, they come back. So there's a bit of dog in the Ulster team at the Kingspan, Ravenhill, whatever they call it now. I don't even know what they call the stadium, but
they were helped by a ridiculous red card though as well, weren't they?
Yeah.
Ludicrous red card, and I'll talk about that later. But yes, there's some fight and there's some dog in that Ulster team. Just inconsistent, aren't they? So, like I said, that race to 8 is going to be epic, and they're right in the mix.
Right, should we finish things off with the good, the bad and the ugly?
Yeah, Jim, I think it's time we got some Maul and Goo backs, the Maul and Brawl, because the smells in Hong Kong weren't great, but I need to smell nice again. What's going on?
You do, and we're moving house soon, so we need to get rid of a load of Maul and Brawl. Otherwise, we're going to have to put it in storage for a while. So we're going to turn the taps on for Maul and Brawl again. Beck,
Yeah.
get your gloves out. You're packing some Maul and Goo. Here we go. So head to maulandbrawl.com. I'll get the boys to turn the taps back on, and you can order. It's gone down really well. It really has. People are washing the dishes with it. They're cleaning the dogs, cleaning the car. Whatever you want, put it in your beards, put it in your hair. You know, use it as toothpaste if you want. I wouldn't recommend that, but Maul and Brawl for men that maul. And Rob, what is it?
Women that brawl.
That's the one. That's that a boy. Okay, that a boy. We're inclusive. We are an inclusive company, right?
There you go.
And it's dark honey and tobacco flavour, which we know men and women alike both enjoy. Maulandbrawl.com. Thank you, Andrew.
There we go. We're going to start off with the Goode and Moana Pacifica get a shout out.
Make way, make way.
They beat the Crusaders in Christchurch 45-29. So a historic victory for Ardie Savea and the Moana Pacifica boys, led by Tana Umanga as head coach. So big shout out to them. Argentina won the men's tournament for the first time ever in Hong Kong. So shout out to them. And the Black Ferns won the women's tournament. Over in the top 14, Cast beat Toulon. But more importantly, a shout out goes to Ma'an Nonu, who at 42 years of age has become the oldest ever player in the top 14. 42.
He was looking big as well.
You tell him. You tell him.
No, I've just said it on here, and that might hit the airwaves, and he can predator me because he looks like the Predator. But he's my age.
Yeah. White jerseys, though, they always had a few pounds. But anyway, I ain't tackling him. I wouldn't tackle him. I never did. But legend of the game. So shout out to Ma'an Nonu. Here's one for you, Jim. We've had some complaints. We're never that positive about the Welsh. It's been hard, but Scarlets, they are getting a shout out in the Goode. They won the West Wales Derby, beating Ospreys 38 points to 22. I mean, they're both near the bottom of the table, but they're both still in the mix for the top 8 as well. So
I thought you were going to mention Sam Warburton's SW7 Academy or whatever it is. I thought that's one of the most positive things to come out of Wales. Have you seen the size of his legs?
Yeah,
and his arms.
Yeah, the whole package. I wonder if the middle leg's big as well.
You need to get on that in your blue Adidas vest, I reckon.
There we go. Moving on, Saracens get a shout in the Goode. They bounce back to beat Tigers at Welford Road with the help of Luke Pearce, an assistant referee, and a TMO who can't see 2 forward passes, but we won't go there. But the Goode this week goes to one of Jim Hamilton's old clubs, not one of his old teammates because you didn't play with him, but Gloucester are going to win the Goode this week for absolutely destroying Bristol 53-28. Rugby from the gods. And Thomas Williams with the most audacious, outrageous Jim Hamilton offload that you've ever seen. The no-look basketball pass. I cannot wait to see some sort of Instagram story of Jim Hamilton trying to recreate it. But Thomas Williams, that just gets you on the Lions tour for that offload alone, I reckon.
Big shout.
That's why they win the Goode this week. The bad, few bits of bad. We're going to start off with Northampton Saints, Jim. 2 losses on the spin and now pretty much look like they're out of the playoff picture after losing away at Sale on Friday night. La Rochelle and Rog, I was texting him yesterday. They get a mention in the bad this week. They lost at Claremont. It is a record for you, Jim. La Rochelle, big team, right?
Yeah, on all fronts.
In their last 8 games, how many have they won?
Well, if you're texting Rog and you jump on drama, I'm going to say 2.
Take away 2.
Really?
In their last 8 games, they've had 7 losses and 1 draw.
So what would one text Rog after that then? Like,
it wasn't about that, James. It wasn't about that. It was about something else.
Okay.
It was about something else. But he said he needs to try and help his team win a game first. But they'll bounce back in the Champions Cup. I've got no doubt of that. What else is bad? The Dragons, again, in the bad. Of course they are. I have to say it every week.
Close.
Why are you being horrible? They lost 38 points to 5 to Edinburgh. Bristol's took 50
Rover's arm.
at Gloucester. Zebra, they took 60 at the Bulls. The bad this week is going to go to the Lions. They lost 42-0 at Glasgow. They're 35-0 down at half-time, Jim. What the FNL's going on there?
Well, they're not just the Lions, are they? The ADVDD Fidelity, the Lions.
Anyway, whatever they're called, the ADTVT whatever, Fidelity Lions, they got absolutely hosed, and that's why they win the bad this week. And then the ugly, one bit of ugly I found this week, and we talked about it earlier. It goes to Neithling Fouché. I hope I've said that right, basically. Shoulder to the head on Ben Carson for the Stormers against Ulster. Tucked arm, straight red card, loads of force. Absolutely diabolical hit. And that's why Neithling Fouché wins the ugly.
Shout outs.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it. A few sad ones and a few inspiring ones. And Andrew, I'll go with a sad one, if I may, to start this one off, because it's a shout out to Tom Chapman. Tom was an England under-18s international, came through the Sarries Academy, Worcester Wasps, Blackheath. He's now backs coach at home club Old Colfians and set up Roebuck's Academy with his wife, Red Roses Key Fleetwood, helping underprivileged kids through rugby. But unfortunately, Tom's been diagnosed with a brain tumour and he's heading in for surgery next week. He's a regular listener to the pod. So, Tom, we're all thinking of you, mate, and good luck with everything.
Todd has dropped us a message asking for a shout out to Barker Butts under 15s, James.
Up the Butts.
Up the Butts, our old club. They toured Bristol's last week and managed to keep a clean sheet in a 7-0 classic. They want to dedicate the win to teammate Billy, who is recovering from facial reconstruction surgery after a freak injury whilst training on pads. So well done, Barker Butts, and get well soon, Billy.
Yeah, get well soon, Billy. And a shout out to South Gower RFC as well, because they've just earned their third promotion in 3 years. Nice one, lads.
Yeah, well done, South Gower boys. Finally, members of the Tunes Festival team will be cycling from John O'Groats to Land's End, all going well in 10 days. Tell the Gooch that. They're going to be covering over 1,000 kilometres on their bikes. They're raising money for the My Name's Doddy Foundation, which is a charity close to our hearts and close to many people's hearts across rugby and away from rugby as well. So if you'd like to donate, head to GoFundMe.com and search Jogle, that's Jogle, Mission for MND. Jogle Mission for MND. So good luck, lads.
Right then, Andrew. Mate, hell of a week lined up. I'm going on holiday. So
You are?
I don't like saying that. People might rob my house, but I'm moving out. So there's nothing to rob anyway, apart from a bit of Maul and Brawl. But yeah, I'm going to America. Going to Texas, baby.
Yeah,
This ain't
Austin.
Texas. Ain't no hold'em. Pull your trousers down, and wear shorts.
Is that what you sing to Beck?
No. Mate, married a long time.
You in the doghouse for being away so much, or not?
No, all good, mate. Working. Well, it's not like, hey, Andrew, my trips away aren't like yours. Okay?
They are. It's work,
No, they're
James.
not. No.
It's work.
Mine is business. Yours is business mixed with pleasure. And the waters are muddied somewhat, we should say.
Did you buy any presents on the way home?
No, because normally something's gone wrong. If you go home with a present, if you go home with a bottle of perfume, or the one is a Toblerone, Rob, you know the giant Toblerones. If the lads were buying them Toblerones at the airport, something had gone down. Yeah. So no one got bought anything. But
I bought the twins something. To be fair, I bought them something from.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I bought the twins something from the Disney store just as you go through. The last guilt present. I love you, girls. I love you. Anyway. Enjoy your holiday, James.
Thank you, Andrew.
No doubt flying business class again.
No, we're not, mate. Not all six of us, we're not. Hopefully me, but the other ones can earn it. The other ones, the kids. What am I talking about? Beck's probably going to go first class.
There we go. Big week coming up for Jim. Champions Cup is back this week as well. So looking forward to that. Thanks to everyone for listening. Make sure you've checked us out on all our socials, on YouTube as well. But mainly, James, make sure they've subscribed on Spotify.
That's the one. That a boy. Rugby Spod.
Spotify, pod.